Oh my gosh. Check it out. I am so surprised. I didn't know that We Are Makers was going to send me the new envelope punch up. This is so cool. I was just saying to somebody in who left a comment on my post when I was sharing this that I need for this to go on super sale so that I can get it because I have like about two or three different envelope punch boards by We Are Makers. Like the all-in-one tool also is an envelope maker, so hard to justify getting this when you have so many already, even though it looks amazing. So I'm really excited. Big thank you to We Are Makers for sending this to me to try out. So this is going to be my first look at the envelope punch up. This is the new kid on the block. Really excited because look how compact and sleek this is. If you're not familiar, this will help you to make custom envelopes, and I really love it. You can let's actually do this. Let's actually scan the QR code because I think that's going to actually tell us what we need in terms of sizes for everything. But if you're new to my channel and you're new to my first look videos, I don't do a lot of research ahead of time for a lot of the reviews that I create because part of a first look video for me is to see how easy is this to use out of the gates. Do you need to watch a million tutorials to understand how to use it? Or can you essentially read the instructions and then out of the gates find success with that product? And for the most part, I review a lot of tools by We Are Makers because I love them so much, and recently I've had some fantastic opportunities to review their products. And look at all the different sizes you can do. This is a lot of sizes. That's pretty amazing. It goes up to a 7x7. So if you're looking for like the definitive super tight tutorial on how to use this video is not that. This video is me literally opening this up for the first time and sharing with you my thoughts on using it for the first time and how easy or hard, as the case may be, it is to use. So I am going to scan this because I'm wondering if like if you lost this, because this does have all of the guide, if you lost it, what would happen? So you just take your camera to it on your phone and you should be able to scan the QR code. It's a short link that takes you to, oh, this is a cool little tool. Oh, this is neat. Okay, so you can say the width of the card that you want. So if the card I want, let's say I usually make an A2 size card. So that's going to be 4 1/4. And if it's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, we just adjust those things. And you can say envelope padding, so I guess how much extra room there is around. And I think, yeah, this tells you the paper size to start at. So that is 8 5/8 is the paper size. Start number 39, I guess we're going to figure that out. And liner size 3 5/8. Awesome. This kind of tells you, and this gives you the step-by-step instructions. Okay, so let's do it. Let's make one. So I've made a bunch of cards using an upcoming die set that I have coming out with Not Too Shabby. So let's get one of them out. Let's see. Here's one. So this is basically an A2 size card. It's a shaped card, but it'll fit into a standard A2 envelope. So let's make ourselves an A2 size envelope. And to do that, what we want to do is start with A2 is 4¼ by 5½. I don't actually see 4¼ on here. That's weird. Is that not weird? That's very weird. It goes 4 by 8½, and then it jumps to 4½ by 4½. Where's 4¼ by 5½? Let's see if it's down in the 5½ section. 5½ by 5½. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, I have to say that's one weird thing. A2 is a very popular size. Oh, here, it's right here. Duh. Okay, it actually says A2. I think. I think that's what that is. A2. But it has A2 and then inches. Is that not weird? A6, A2. Okay. Well, let's see what the app said again. So the app said if we're making A2 4¼ this can go a little smaller, 5½. My paper size is 8½, so that's perfect. 8½, but that's not what this says. This says, hey, this is weird. I think it's all gonna work out in the end, but I'm not too sure which one to be guided by. Okay, so check this out. We have A2 here, which is 4¼ by 5½, but I'm not too sure if this is actually A2 because where it's listed, it would suggest that it's 4½ by 5½ because of where they listed it. Everything's in increasing size. And then this says 8¾ is the paper size to start with. But if you go to the app, 4¼ by 5½ is your A2 size, and it says to start at 8½, not 8¾ Although I think they've defined A2 differently here. And start at 38, which is the same as the other thing. So I'm going to go by this because I don't want to cut down a 12 by 12 to get 8¾ by 8¾ So I'm going to try it at 8½. So let's go with that. Okay, so let me grab a sheet of 8½. And if I want the envelope to coordinate with this, let's see if I can find something maybe in the, maybe a light blue. Alright, so let's do this one. Okay, and I'm also really glad that the refill blades for the all-in-one tool are back in stock. I couldn't get, they didn't have the teal one that matches my all-in-one, but that's okay. At least I have new blades now. I'm really happy for that. So, we started at 8½ square, and you know what? I didn't read that it's 8½ square. I'm just familiar with other other envelope makers that you always start with a square piece of paper. So it does say use the chart to find your paper size and start number. Trim your paper to the paper size, dimensions shown on the chart. There's a lot of words here, but it's translated into multiple different languages. Okay, so we've trimmed it. That was step number 2. All right. So now it says press the lift tab and slide the paper under the score guide. Press the lift tab. So that, do you see what that does? So if you press down on this, it lifts this guide up so that it's easier for you to slip something underneath. All right, so press that. And then precisely align the paper to the angle edge and start number. So the start number I was going to go with was the one from my phone. I think it was 38. Yeah, start number 38. So we want to line this up. It looks from this flush against this. There's an edge here. And then I want to put this line, I believe, at 38. So they have a good photo here with the example. So, and the numbers are really clear. So if you check this out, it's pretty clear where to line it up. I like that there's a line across the entire guide there. So, okay. So that's lined up. It's nice and flush on the line. Press the notch tool and use the score tool to score along the score guide edge. Okay, so need to pull this out. We've got our scoring tool here. And they want us to press this, which is the notch punch. Okay, and score. Yeah, so you're scoring basically against the plastic here, but there's a groove. Okay, then rotate and align the paper against the angled edge and notch with the notch against the angled edge. Let's rotate and align paper with angle edge and notch with the notch alignment line. So there's a notch alignment line somewhere on here. Where is that? Oh, I see. Okay. I think we're supposed to line up the notch here. Wherever that ends up being, is that right? So lift that. I think is that the notch alignment line? Yeah. See this right here? This solid line right next to the plastic is the notch alignment line. So we want to line up the paper with the angled edge. That's this edge here. And we want to line up the notch with the notch alignment line. So lift. Drop this here. And then you want to scooch this until this lines up there. And once paper is precisely aligned, punch and score. Again, repeat on all four edges. So punch and score. Rotate. Line the notch up. Punch and score. And rotate. and punch. Okie dokie. This looks big. I think this is bigger than your standard A2 envelope. Where did my card go? So here's my card. And I mean it's not huge, but there's a lot of extra room in this. But let's just keep going. Let's keep going. So let's go. Our notches. Oh, so we're not done. Use the corner punch on each flap for a rounded finish. Let's do that. The corner punch is on this edge of things. So we can set this in here. Oh, that's a good corner. Okay. A couple of these corners, I don't think you're really gonna see it, so I don't think you really have to do all of them, but it doesn't hurt. So there's that. And then fold along the score lines using the score tool or bone folder and glue the flaps. So let's fold and fold and fold. And I like using an ergonomic bone folder, but you can use the scoring tool that they provide, of course. This helps to really crease that. And then now there's options here. So if you want to make this more of a an envelope box, you can. So it says for box envelopes, align the original score line with the dash line and score a second line. So if you just need it to have like a little bit more dimension for really dimensional cards, you can take this and put your original score line on the dash line. Just make sure it's like connected at the top and bottom, and then score an extra line. That gives you like more of a envelope box. And there's an option for creating a liner too. Oh, let's make a liner. I definitely want to do that. I think that'll be good. Okay, so that's our box pretty much, or our envelope done. So let's wait. I'll wait to close this up because let's get the liner in. For liners, trim paper to liner size and align with the liner line. Oh, okay, what did it say was the liner size? Let's find out. I don't remember. It says the liner size for this is 3 5/8. Oh, so if I'm gonna make a liner and I only need 3 5/8, maybe I'll use some pattern paper. I'll use some pattern paper to match so that it goes with. So, or coordinates. Okay, so let's see. Because 3 5/8 is all I need, so you can definitely get that from. Maybe I'll even have. Do I have scraps? Okay, so let's just get. This one's pretty and it's a little bit cut into already, so let's use that. Plus it's like, I think this can go on a diagonal and it'll be fine. So 3 5/8, that seems small. Let me double check. Yeah, 3 5/8. Okay. 3 5/8. This really does seem small. 3 5/8. But okay. It seems very small. This is way too small. Oh no, it's not. I mean, it seemed way too small, but I guess this is kind of reasonable. Well, let's find out. For liners, trim to liner size and align with the line. That's a lot of liner. Align with liner line. Punch and repeat on opposite side. Okay, so the liner line is this diagonal line here. That one right there. I don't think I'm going to need the score tool anymore. That's handy. Okay. So align with the liner line. So that's like that. That angle is the liner line. So do that. And I think I just punch, right? I think that's all they want me to do. Is to punch and repeat on opposite side. Punch. And that looks weird. That looks like that. I guess maybe it's supposed to. And then do it on the opposite side, so that's over here, right? Like that. Glue the punch and repeat on opposite side, and that's it. Glue the liner in place and fold the envelope as usual. We don't round that corner. Let's see. So I think this is way smaller than what it's supposed to be. But I think you're supposed to attach it like that. Doesn't it seem like it fits way closer to the edges? I think I'm gonna round the corner on this. Like that. So then it at least looks like that. I mean, I sort of feel like you're supposed to, once this is, I think it's supposed to be like this, so that you see the liner down here as well. But this definitely was not the right starting size. Let's see what this said. Because I went by the app. This, this says 3 3/4, which is not that much bigger than this was 3 5/8. I feel like, oh, also this is probably too thick to use as a liner. I don't know that was right. That does not look right to me. I feel like the shape is right. I feel like the size is not. I feel like the size needs to go out. Let's see. So now I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna do what I think it should be, which I think should be closer to maybe 4 inches instead of 3 5/8. Yeah, let's do that piece over, but let's do it at 4 inches. And I'm not gonna use thick paper like this. I'm gonna use something a little bit thinner. So I'm gonna use one of my printables. And let's just see if I can find a printable that's got a good good lightweight printable that will match. Okay, let me go searching a little bit and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I found this. I think it'll be good with this card because it's got some dark blue here. So I think instead of, now I'm going off script now because I'm not really sure about the size they gave me for the liner. So I'm gonna go with 4 inches. By 4 inches. Instead of both of their instructions. On the phone it said 3 5/8. On the instruction it said 3 3/4. So I'm gonna do my own thing here and say I think it's 4. So let's slide this in at 4. And then I think I want to flip it and punch because it's not, I'll show you why. That way they look identical because what bugged me a little bit on this one is you see how it's rounded and then it starts to curve out, and then this is the opposite. Whereas if you flip to the back, then these are identical, or at least they're mirrored. So I think that's a little bit of a small detail, but I like it to be symmetric. And then we'll do this. All right. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this would go there. Actually, I think it's better. Let me round this corner. So I want this where it swoops out. I think maybe that's gonna land where the fold is. Yes. See? That's way better. I think that fits way better. Okay, I feel like the liner might be a little bit of a trial and error situation. Those numbers, I don't know. Did I read it wrong? I don't know. I feel like I did it right. But I like mine better. Okay, so then let's finish this. So get some liquid adhesive or some dry adhesive. I'm gonna get some right on this fold also. All right, and so I'm positioning mine so that this, like, see how it kind of swoops? I'm gonna put that on the fold of the top flap and just aim to center it otherwise. And this is my printer, home printed paper, so it's on my Epson EcoTank printer is what I use to print it out, and this one I think is probably, oh yeah, this is the premium presentation, but I could go thinner. I would probably go thinner and use just the regular presentation paper, but this works fine. And for the envelope, I'm gonna put dry adhesive, but I'm also just gonna put a little line of liquid adhesive just to make sure that's nice and permanent. We don't want the envelope falling apart during shipping, have everything fall out of it. So that's gonna keep it nice and permanent. And look at that. Maybe it would have been a good idea to score the liner. I should have scored the liner because it's It's got a double. All right, it's still folded okay. So there's that. This is cool. I like it. I think it's really compact. The only thing I would say is I think, at least for A2 anyhow, the size of the liner does not seem exactly spot on. But plenty of room. I would say it's a little bit on the large side, but it does make your card seem extra special. Now, this is a store-bought A2 envelope, so you can see the size difference. There's about half an inch on, yeah, it's about half an inch taller and maybe a quarter of an inch wider. And just so that you can see, this does fit into a standard A2 envelope. See? I mean, I could probably put this whole envelope in here. But this does make it feel, you know, way more special though. So I love it. I think it turned out great. I mean, I'm a little bit, I think the, for A2, it just seemed like a little bit confusing to me how it's listed because of, they name very specific sizes. So there's, I saw 4-bar. Gladstone, I guess, is it's a size, a popular enough size that it has its own name. But they have A2 here. It just seems like it's in the wrong spot because they have it at 4.5. But they also have A6, and then the largest you can go up to is 7x7. And on the app, let me see what the largest is. So let's see if the app lets you go bigger. So card width, you have reached the maximum size. So I guess 8.5. Okay, 8.5 by 8.5. But if you went 8.5 by 8.5, you would need paper that is 13 3/8, which I don't know that you would have. Like, oh, you know what we could have done? Maybe we should have adjusted the padding, the envelope padding, because this is like teeny tiny. Okay, so envelope padding, I had it at the default of 1/8 of an inch, but that seemed like that was a lot of padding. So if I did 4 1/4, let's just play around a little bit with that. That's 4.5, 4 1/4 by 5.5. And oh, you know what's cool? You can switch this from inches to centimeters also. Okay, so that's 4 1/4 by 5.5. Did this change? I must have had it wrong. This says 8 1/4 and you start at 36. Oh, I must have had it at the wrong size before. That's why it's so big. Now I'm kind of curious. Okay, so I think it works. I think it works great. Let's just really quickly make another one. I just want to know, once we get the right size, I must have done something wrong. 4 1/4. That's 4 1/4 by 5.5. Yeah, this is 8 1/4, and I started at 8.5. That's why this is so big. Okay, let's just do one more, just to see how much of a difference does 1/4 of an inch make. Let's find out. So instead of starting at 8.5, we start at 8 1/4. So that's there, 8 1/4. Eight and a quarter by 8 1/4. Oh, it's so nice to have a new blade. It cuts like butter. I was nursing my last blade for like a year plus, I think. Okay. So, it said 8 1/4 was the paper size, and we want to start at, I just tapped something. That must have been what I did. I must have accidentally kind of nudged it. Okay. 36 is the starting number. So you pop this in, and then make sure this edge is flush with this plastic on the angle here. And then down here is the number. So we're looking for 36. Just line that up. Okay. Punch. And one of the problems with the earlier envelope punch boards was that, you know, you didn't have a long enough score track for some of your larger envelopes. And then they came up with the 3-2-1 board. That's the one I have. And that had an extension that you could swing out, which helped to solve that problem. But this one is plenty long. So you don't have to worry about an extension or any of that. And it's pretty compact, this tool, which I like. Okay, so let's just make our way around. One last one. So here, what I'm doing is lining this up with this solid line here. Okay. And you really just need the top. Because if you look at the finished envelope, the side corners you're not going to see. You really just need to round the corners at the top and the bottom. Now I'm kind of curious if the original size on the liner is going to work. Oh, let's see what they say for the liner, actually. Hold on. Yeah, so now it says the liner for 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 is 3 3/8. I still think that's going to be too small. So here's this. Oh, got a little bit of cracking. So if your cardstock cracks, you can kind of burnish it. That sometimes helps smooth it out a little bit. If you feel like you've lost some, if it feels weak, you can just put a little bit of glue over that. Like, I've got barely art glue here. And if it's cracked to the point where it feels like it might be a little bit weak, sometimes I just do this. I just put a little bit of, like a small little dot of liquid adhesive and just burnish that in. It'll just help to prevent that from opening. And it'll dry nice and clear also. It just adds a little bit of strength back if you feel like you've lost a little something there. And then same with this last flap. See, I got a little bit of cracking here, so I'll just do a little bit of glue. And burnish that in. And that'll help prevent it from actually opening up. Okay. So probably take that for the bottom and take this nicer one for the top. All right, so that is, if I actually use the correct size. So yeah, see, it's a 1/4 inch smaller. And then if I compare it to a store-bought A2 envelope, it's bigger still, but not by a ton. But I still kind of feel like the liner, let's do the liner since I still have this little bit left over. I'm gonna do the liner at the same size as before, just to see what that looks like, which is 4 inches, 4x4, as opposed to 3 3/8, because I really feel like their liner size is really small. Let me see. Yeah, let's find out. Let's see what happens. So this is the same size liner as what I put into that one. I'm kind of curious what this is going to look like, because I can always cut it down and try again, but smaller. So I like flipping it to the back when I punch the opposite. Then I have these two that are the same. And let's see how this fits. Yeah, see, this is nice. This is a good fit, I feel. I like the bigger liner. Oh, so let's round that corner. And this time, let's actually score. Okay, so these, where it sort of comes out a little bit, I'm going to score from here to there, those 2 points. So put that in the score track there. And so it didn't say to do this. I'm just doing it because then I have this folding nicely. I think I'm scoring a little bit too aggressively, and I'm kind of tearing my. This, by the way, this fits better like this. A little bit smoother. So now we can stack these score lines, and that can, see, that looks nice. I like my size better, I gotta say. So for my A2 liner, I did 4 inches square is what I started at. And then I'll just get adhesive here. Okay. So cool. Look at that. It's still going to be kind of tough to fold this because you have two score lines right on top of each other. But since I scored the liner, it's a little bit easier. And I'll do the same thing here. So these papers are, you don't have to use, it's probably better not to use, like the thinner the cardstock, the better, I think, for your envelope. So that you don't get cracking and stuff. This is 65 pound, the color cardstock that I'm using, and then the printed cardstock that I'm using is 42 pound cover weight. Which I think is, it's kind of nice. It feels, pretty substantial, but I think it's overkill for an envelope. You could probably go thinner. I think you could probably go with 42 pound on the outside, and it would still feel like pretty nice as an envelope. But anything custom like this is going to be pretty cool. So here's this inside. Look at that. How awesome. Well, there you have it, friends. A first look at the We Are Makers Punch Up. How awesome. It is very interesting that We Are Makers is using different colors for their boards. Because the carton was a different plastic. It was almost like a orange creamsicle color. This has a very I wonder, is this puce, friends? Folks who watch Crafty Fun with Friends live will know. I don't know, this could be puce, right? Because this is brown. It's a little bit of a reddish pinkish brown. But I do kind of like that they're branching out and making different colors for their boards and their tools. I love it for how compact it is. I think it's the longer score track is really nice. Lining this up is really easy. I think everything worked great. I think the only thing that seemed a little bit off to me, could just be me, is the suggestion for the size paper that you need for the liner. But otherwise, everything seems to work just as you would expect it to. The other thing that seemed weird is that this A2 seems different than what the app, than if you were to use it for the measurements 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 from the app. And the app, you get to that by just scanning in this QR code here. So I do like that they have an app. I like that the QR code is on the board, as often these days you find the QR codes on lots of We Are Makers tools. So I think that's brilliant. It's really nice, because then if you lose this, you just need to scan in that QR code. Well, and plus I kind of feel like this is better than going by what was printed here, at least for A2. So, well, friends, I'll leave links to everything in the description box below. I believe this is already available for purchase, so you can go check that out on the American Crafts website. And if you get this, let me know what you think. I'm loving it. I like how compact it is, and I like it seems very simple to use, which I really love. So there you have it. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.